My very favorite
film
film.
from the greatest filmmaker of all time, Charles Band. Tiny things and killer puppets. Charles Band.
Homo fatal.
So this, so this is the Marvel Budget Bullpen, and this is Doc Mordrid.
I think Master of the Unknown is perhaps the official subtitle. But yes, what is a Dr. Mordrid? Who is a Dr. Mordrid? Well, you've asked the correct questions, because that's entirely why we're talking about this film today. So if you don't know the story, folks, Dr. Mordrid, 1992, is from Homo Fatals, as brought to us by Albert and Charles Band. I don't know where the fuck that came from, but it's probably going to flare up a couple more times over the course of this conversation. Anyway, it's from 1992, and the story goes, and I'll keep this very brief. Full Moon Features and Charles Band acquired the rights to make an official Marvel Doctor Strange film. And in the midst of pre-production, those rights lapsed, and they did not pay the licensing renewal fee. And so they decided, hey, we put in the work anyway. And so they proceeded with making the film anyway. However, for obvious legal reasons, the script had to be retooled, and it had to be made into something legally distinct from Doctor Strange. So Dr. Mordrid is the legally distinct Doctor Strange knockoff. It's the equivalent of Steven Spielberg. So this is not a Doctor Strange film, but if you squint and you think just a little bit, like use a little bit of imagination, it kind of is. So this is us cheating a little bit. It's not an official Marvel production, but it almost was. Now, Levi, had you seen this one prior to today's conversation, I guess?
So here's the weird thing. I am almost positive I have seen this before. I know I rented it. Like, I'm almost positive I did rent this movie. And I don't usually rent things without watching them, but I have no memory of this picture. So it's one of those things where it's like, maybe I picked it up and said, oh, gee, like, I really got to watch this. I heard it was based on Doctor Strange, and then I put it back on the shelf. But I can visualize distinctly me having it in my hand at the rental store. Like, I can guarantee I did have it in my hands at one point. So this may be my second, might as well be my first.
That seems fair. I mean, everybody would remember Jeffrey Combs going in their hand. Yeah. It's quite a cover. Charles Band knew how to sell tapes. He knew how to move tapes. It's kind of his whole business model in a lot of ways. I hadn't seen this movie before. I am aware that I'm pretty sure there's a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode of it. Have not seen that episode, though. If not, riff tracks. Either way, those fellas have definitely touched this film. I want to say that maybe this was a film that was featured on like Stomp Tokyo or badmovies.org, one of those websites that I frequented when I was in high school. So I've been aware of it since then, but I hadn't seen this movie until just last night, basically. And it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's a lot of evidence of stretching. Like, there's some shots and some sequences where it's like, well, that didn't have to take that long. Like that's frankly, that's embarrassing. like for poor Brian Thompson kind of gets the shit end of the stick in a couple of sequences here where it's just like, cut for the look, cut. Like, do we need to see him walk across the whole room there? No, we don't, but we need to make a feature-length film.
Different angle. Please, just cut to a different angle. It's not. I don't even need you to compress the time. Just stop holding on the wide.
I mean, yeah, the sequence that comes to mind is during the finale, which is maybe one of the most disappointing things in the whole thing, because it actually has some cool shit going on in like the lead up to it, but the finale, like, it just ends on the wettest of farts. There's that bit where he's like, the stone tablet that I've been pining for this whole movie, but only just now mentioned. He frees it from the glass case, and then they have this wide shot where he like bends over and he picks up the tablet. He grunts because it's a stone, you see. It's heavy. He's a big man, but it's still a heavy tablet. And he like waddles over to a different platform upon which he sets it. It's that you couldn't just do it where it lie. You have to put it on top of the other. You have to put the box on top of the box. And then he's like, now I'm going to pour.
It has to be centered in the obelisks.
I mean, but we have to watch him pick it up and waddle over. You can just see him like looking around.
He couldn't like levitate it or something.
Yeah, you know, woo, do some hand jive, you know, put some of those cool opticals over it. You can just see him looking around being like, are there no PAs who will help me move this? It's like, no, absolutely not, Brian Thompson. You're a big guy. You could do it. And we don't cut. It's like a whole minute and a half of just him picking up a box and moving a box. It's watching an Amazon employee at a warehouse move boxes. It's the beginning of Mafia 2 or whatever the fuck, where it's like, are you going to move all those boxes till the end of time? Or are you going to become a mobster? I'm going to become a mobster. Fuck it.
The philosopher's wash basin.
And now to pour the glitter goo into the basin.
Okay.
Strawberry preserves and glitter goo.
So, okay, for those uninformed, I think most people know who Doctor Strange is. Doctor Strange was created by primarily Steve Ditko, and is a master of the mystic arts and that sort of thing. Especially that early run was known for its very psychedelic art, and the way it was drawn was like very trippy and very fun. And it became a big part of symbolism within the countercultural movement, because the occult was also picking up steam in the 60s with fascination with India and like New Age movements and that sort of thing. And also, let's be honest, getting baked and reading Doctor Strange was probably a regular pastime of most of New York at the time. So, this is a fairly famous character, a part of the stable of Marvel, a founding member of the Defenders, which is a weird freaking team that I kind of love.
Silver Surfer, Hulk, Namor,
and Angel.
Yeah. And Angel. Jeez.
You're like...
Beast, I think, was in there too.
Yeah, like, I kind of love the Defenders because it's just like, what a weird-ass team. Like, I kind of love throwing all these pieces together. The Defenders is the type of team you end up making when you just have MISC action figures, and you're like, okay, Batman and He-Man and Duke from G.I. Joe are friends now. And they have a superhero team.
And they have sleepovers at Captain Bucky O'Hare's.
Yeah, exactly. And Teddy Ruxpin is their ace in the hole because he's 10 feet taller than all of them. I like the Defenders as a team, but I like them because it is just like, okay, sure. But this is legally distinct Doctor Strange. It's completely different. Nobody would touch this. You know, it's completely Your Honor, I swear. So there's a lot of crossover, and there's a lot of things within this. So the general plot of the movie is Anton Mordrid in years past was trained as a sorcerer alongside Cabal, is a villain of the piece. So you have one student that was good, another who is evil, and now Mordrid, as the sort of sentinel of Earth, is standing guard, and Cabal escapes his magical Rock of Eternity prison, I guess. He escapes prison and is going to attempt to destroy the Earth, take over the Earth. We're a little loosey goosey on that because because they say like he's gonna turn the world into a cinder, but also there's an implication of ruling it. So I guess I'm not entirely sure. It's gonna be bad, and we don't want it. It's gonna be really, really bad. So all of these elements, all these alchemical elements go missing all around the world. They're being stolen, and people are going crazy, and all of them are being transported to this one spot in New York. So Cabal has escaped. He's assembling his elements, and only Dr. Mordrid can stand in his way. And so this movie is 75 minutes long. So it is like barely across the finish line of being considered a feature. Like just barely. Like we're around the time where it's like you got like half a tape's worth in your actual like physical cassette. And the first half runs at a pretty good clip. And you're like, okay, all right, this is pretty neat. And you get about halfway through the second act, and you're like, all right, so we're taking some time for some exposition, that's fine. And then the third act comes, and you're like, we don't have money, do we? Oh, dear, there's no money. Oh, no. And then it just kind of like weakly approaches the finish line and collapses. And you're like, I mean, I had fun. Like it was fun while it lasted.
I mean, Charles Band's whole life could be summed up, I guess, is that. Although he keeps coming back to life.
Yeah.
He's the phoenix that will, forever rise again. He had a couple of bankruptcies here and there, but hey, Full Moon is still a brand. They still put out Blu-rays and stuff. They're still trucking. So the man has that never say die attitude. I don't remember the last time this came up, but it feels like it wasn't that long ago. But yet again, we have an ending that feels akin to congratulations. 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 It's a congratulations ending. If you don't get the reference, folks, Neon Genesis Evangelion famously ran completely out of money by the time they reached the end of that series, to the point that they were Ken Burnsing animation drawn on like dinner napkins and stuff. And so the congratulations refers to this is the best we could do. Like there was no money. And yeah, you get that sense that the ride up to the final reel of this one is pretty spiffy. But man, it just falls apart. It collapses under its own weight. And it absolutely doesn't deliver much of anything. But I do agree with you. Like I actually had fun with this, like on the whole. Like it's a very earnest movie in a lot of ways. A lot of it comes down to the performances and the production design. I can see why they ran out of money, because those optical effects are snazzy. Like they made sure any time that they were doing complex effects work, they were not embarrassing themselves, which is kind of a charming element of some of like Full Moon's catalog. Is there is that like dichotomy of like simultaneously this is the cheapest shit I've ever seen, but also like parts of it are like, whoa, like wow, that could compete with, a major studio film or something. But it's like few and far between. It's just like anytime there's an optical effect, it's like we spared no expense. Anytime we needed to build a prop, we spared no expense. except when we had to, like when we're making like boxes for like just like miscellaneous just stuff for people to move around. It's like, ooh, that looks kind of chintzy. So it's like you have both in the same frame sometimes, or it's like something really cheap and under-designed covered by like one of the most beautiful opticals you'll see of the day. So it's kind of all over the place in that regard, but I think it's very charming because it does have like that whiz bang, like legitimate like comic book movie feel. And again, the earnesty of the performances and the script. The movie does not give a shit about whether you can keep up with it. It's just Jeffrey Combs and Brian Thompson, the way they deliver their lines, it has that believability factor where it's like you're checking in on an adventure of Dr. Mordrid that's, you know, a couple years into his career or something. Like you're like a pulp hero or something where it's like, you know, we don't have that bit really where we stop everything dead to explain every facet of this character to you. It's just like, you know, jump in at any point. Every comic is somebody's first. Has that kind of attitude about things. And it's funny because the timing of this review. I really love Jeffrey Combs. It took a good chunk of my life to come to that conclusion, but it's like, man, when it comes to like guys who step up for every time they're at bat, like Jeffrey Combs is one of them. Like he is a remarkable screen actor. Like he just has a way about him that he leaps off of the screen. Like he has that light in his eyes that, you know, a good cinematographer or whoever, a good DP will definitely take notice of, but he just has a life to the way he uses his face and the way he delivers his lines that is always captivating. And he's a goddamn chameleon too. Like he can do anything because he's kind of like smooth and alien and occasionally kind of charming in this. But that's not the Jeffrey Combs that you see most of the time. Most of the time he's a fidgety weirdo. Like he's a squirrely fucker, and he's awkward and strange and obnoxious. And this, he is none of those things, and he plays it equally well. The reason I say the timing is funny is I was just texting Brad from the Cinema Speak podcast the other day because my fiance got me an Ultraman Blu-ray box set for my birthday last month, and it's funny because it's like, I asked for it specifically, but it just so happens to be like two of the worst Ultraman series ever. But they're like special to me because it's Ultraman Towards the Future, which was the Australian, the Aussie Ultraman. But it was notably like the first one, aside from like the very first series and maybe Ultra 7, that was like officially broadcast on mainstream American television when I was a kid, and I still have like some of the toys, and so it was basically baby's first Ultraman for me. But it is terrible. Like it's really not good. And the other series that's in that box is called Ultraman: The Ultimate Hero, and I don't even know if it was officially broadcast in the US, but it is an American television production produced explicitly for the purpose of trying to propagate the brand into the West. And I don't think it even aired on television because nobody liked it. It has the worst Ultraman action that's ever been shot on film. It is the clumsiest horseshit you'll ever see, Levi. In fact, it's kind of hilarious. Like the juxtaposition between like the earnest performances of the actors, and every time it cuts to effects work, it's just like, oh no. Like left hand didn't know what right hand was up to. It is bad. Like anytime Ultraman is on screen, ironically in the Ultraman show where that's normally like the saving grace, like it's like just hang on, Ultraman will show up in the last 2 minutes and all will be forgiven. It's like anytime he shows up, it's like no go away, Ultraman, we're not here for you. Anyway,
go back.
Go back. No, long story short, very long story short. Sorry, Ultraman tangent. Jeffrey Combs showed up in an episode. I was like, what the fuck is he doing here on this?
Hey, buddy.
was like, hey, you're on Ultraman. Jeffrey Combs is in an episode of Ultraman, and he's fucking good because he always is. So it's like, this is one of the worst Ultraman shows ever made. It's been buried and lost to time until it was put out on Blu-ray just, last month or whatever. And fucking Jeffrey Combs shows up, and again, he's playing against type. Like he's playing essentially the film director character or the the stage guy from King Kong. Or the Jack Black character in the Peter Jackson version. It's playing that character, basically. Carl Denham, I think, might be the character's name. At least in the Peter Jackson version.
Yeah.
And he's snappy. He's kind of aggressive. He's kind of a dick. But then he has like a couple moments where he gets to be sweet and charming. It's like, God damn it, Jeffrey Combs. Like you're showing up for Ultraman, the ultimate hero. It's like you show up for everything. You're kind of awesome. So. Like he always works for me, but he buoys quite a lot of this movie, where it's like parts of it that could have been completely flat or dull as shit. As long as he is on screen, as long as he's there to accompany things, you're in very good hands. It's just when, like you said, like kind of towards the middle chunk where we decide we need to stop for exposition and we're kind of like pulled away from him for a good chunk of it. It starts to flounder a bit. And we get subplots involving Satanist goons who are sometimes invincible, but not always. That felt very distracting and flimsy, and could have gone somewhere, but really didn't. There's some of that going on here, unfortunately.
Trevor, it's a Charles Band production. We need boobs. It's required. It's the law.
Yeah, actually, I didn't take a lot of notes, but one of my notes here says, whoa, full frontal for Mordrid. As in like, oh, we actually got somebody to say yes to that. Yeah, there's a gal who just is here to be naked for one scene. And, I don't know how much of that was in the advertising. I want to say the trailer does feature that scene where he's like blasting light onto her tits or whatever. But yeah, it's a Charles Band film. There's gonna be tits at some point, but in this one you get a little bit more. So bonus points?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not good nudity. She's just kind of standing there.
Yeah, I mean she's just kind of there. The thing is that it's a Charles Band production. You can expect from a Charles Band production, it is special effects that are punching way above their weight class and needless nudity. That is what you can expect.
Yeah, that's kind of their hallmark. We even get some stop motion in the final act of the film, which forgive me, I forget the name of the fellow who was kind of their like in-house specialist for this sort of thing. I assume it's the guy who did the Primevals, which if you don't know the story behind that, dear listener, maybe check it out. It's kind of a interesting little bit of like low budget film history, where it's like this decades long project that unfortunately the person who originated it passed away before production was completed. But hey, Full Moon gathered some resources, made some new fabricated some new shots with modern like matte painting technology, just kind of like patch things together and actually put it out on Blu-ray so you can actually watch the Primevals. I actually have the Blu-ray of it. It's a nifty little pulp adventure film. It's not amazing by any means. It basically is just a Full Moon film, but it meant a lot to the guy who was making it, and I'm pretty sure it's the same fellow who did the stop motion dinosaurs and woolly mammoth at the end of this one, as well as like the couple of seconds of demons that come out of that hatch at the end there. So yeah, the effects were always like a hallmark of Full Moon kind of stuff. It's like whenever possible they would spare no expense, but it seemed like sometimes the balance, like the balancing of the books was a lot of the issue, because a lot of their movies tend to fart around a lot. A lot of them tend to stretch to like struggle to reach like 70, 75 minutes in length. And when the effects are good, they're great. When they're bad, they're laughable. And when you get the proper mix, it's charming and entertaining as all get out. But there are some instances where they don't get that mix, and it ends up being more embarrassing than anything. Like, I don't know if you've seen Seed People, Levi, but that was one that the cover art was entirely the reason I watched it, as was intended. Like that was the marketing campaign for that movie. It was just like, hey, here's this cover with some weird monsters on it. That is a garbage ass movie, and the effects aren't even that good. So it has virtually nothing going for it, but I've seen it, so cool.
The movie, where it shines, I think a lot about this. It was said of the late great Peter Cushing that Peter Cushing was in many very, very bad films, but he was never bad in them. Like, he always brought his A game. He always was invested. And even in like really, really crap movies, you're just like, man, Peter is giving his all. And I think Jeffrey Combs is the exact same way. It's, as I was watching him and as I was watching this movie, I'm like, he firmly believes that. Like, I believe it. I believe it entirely, completely. And that's a gift. That is a special, special gift to be able to deliver kind of hokey, like, fantasy dialogue and believe it utterly. Especially when you know, like, he had to have known that the filmmaking isn't quite behind you. I'm always fascinated by those types of performers, and I always respect the hell out of them. And Brian Thompson isn't a slouch either. He's doing great, great work. And I'm always compelled by that. And it's sort of what you need in genre filmmaking, especially low budget genre filmmaking. Because these rest on these two things. It rests on the effects work, and it rests on the actors' performances. Because the filmmaking isn't quite there. Like, the actual, like, nuts and bolts filmmaking is not there to help them. Like, there's no hiding. But if you got good effects work, some decent production value, and some actors who can believe it, you got yourself a picture. And in this case, we mostly have ourselves a picture. It's just we don't have enough money to lengthen it, because there are just some moments where you're like, just trim, just cut just a little bit, just a smidge, and this can be tighter. They're early on, there's a little bit of production value, which looks like they might have actually shot in Rio de Janeiro. Maybe, I don't know. But it looks about right. And I'm like, were they filming something else there? Like, where did they get this money? Like, I don't know. Where the entire scene is shot in slow motion. So it takes about twice as long. Like, dude, the entire scene. And you're like, we gotta hit that runtime. Yeah. We gotta hit that runtime. That's it. And there are just some moments where it really doesn't need to be like that, but we have to hit the runtime. And it's a shame that you can see the seams of the movie in that way, where you can see the seams of the filmmaking. It's perplexing. But I think the movie's strengths really is in, especially things like production design, because the locations they do get good. They look pretty good. Mordrid's lair, like his sanctum, his apartment, looks fantastic. It looks awesome. And it is goals. It is the goal of what I would like my home to look like. at some point in the future. Crossing my fingers. Because it has just the right amount of like dark lighting and the books and the artifacts all over it. Like, it looks fantastic. And all of the little pieces of it, even though, again, you can tell we're on a budget here. Even the moments where you can see the budget, you're like, no, this took a lot of work, and they put a lot of thought into this. And there's this big map on the wall, and there's this bank of screens where he's getting news broadcasts from all over the world, and there's this fold-up table that has all these scrolls in it for easy reading, and it's like, there's all of these production details in it that look good. And when he crosses over to the Rock of Eternity, I call it that because it resembles the dwelling place of the wizard Shazam in the Captain Marvel stories.
Yeah, we're mixing our references now.
Exactly. When he goes to the Rock of Eternity, where he's being held, even having the detail of the guard there is in full like chainmail and plate, and he has like a blaster to do it, and it's like there's demons held in this other. You're like, well, that's neat. Like, that's kind of a fun like mixture of things and a fun mixture of elements. And the costume designs and some of the different touches are just a lot of fun. There's one shot with is stepping over to the rock, where the map goes back into the wall and opens up into a big circle, and his cape is billowing in the wind as he's stepping through it. And it looks like that famous shot from Snyder's Man of Steel. Like, it looks a lot like that shot of Clark stepping out into the Arctic. It has a lot of really arresting images, and even later on, like the finale itself, the bones of it is a lot of fun because we have a big fight between a T-Rex and a woolly mammoth skeleton, and they're all done in stop motion, and there's like some Valley of Guanji type stuff where the T-Rex is fighting two police officers. The bones of it are fun. And it has some real promise and some good momentum. It's just, we run out of money and we can't afford to edit anything because we need to hit the length. So yeah, we kind of have this strange mixture of a film where everyone is clearly locked in and they are taking the material seriously. But it's just, we can't quite get there. We can't quite, if we had like another $1 million, we may be able to get just a little bit more out of this, and we could tighten up the finale and tighten up some of those other shots, and we'd have a real legitimate picture. But we just can't quite get it. It's that final lap where we run out of steam.
Yeah, I think the key phrase that you had mentioned was "there's nowhere to hide." That is the sense that you get when, not necessarily while you're watching the thing, but maybe like immediately post. I mean, I got the sense when I was watching it, but it's small details that when you've seen them enough times within a single film, it really starts to announce itself to you in the ugly way. And what I mean by that is production values are great. Everything that we can do, we're doing at a very high level for the most part. Our lighting and our cinematography are pretty sharp in this. The eye lighting in particular, the hair lighting and stuff, like everybody looks great, especially in close-up. Like they are aiding the performances in the way that they can. Our setups, our shots are blocked well. There just aren't very many of them is the thing. And that's what I mean by there's nowhere to hide, because you'll start to notice as the movie unfolds, there's a lot of sequences that it's like a shot reverse shot, or we're like smashed into like not even a full set, like a corner of a set. Like that Rock of Eternity location is represented by the garden on the side of an apartment building, outside the studio probably, and a composite shot of a miniature with no variation of angles. Same goes for the museum. There's that one flat angle we have because we're compositing in the T-Rex and the Mastodon skeletons, and so we can't afford to place those miniatures in different angles. We can only show this location from this one flat angle that we cut back to maybe 3 times, which isn't that many times, but it's enough to register with your brain where it's like, oh, that's the best that they could do. And like that conversation,
but your brain did. Like that conversation with Gunner, by the way. I actually really like that actor. Like he brought it. He's the Guardian guy at the Rock of Eternity location. Sorcerer Shazam, I guess. That whole conversation with Jeffrey Combs is just like the two of them this close to each other, and it's just Combs's angle, other guy's angle, and we're just cutting back and forth. And that's where having an amazing multi-tool like Jeffrey Combs at your disposal comes in handy, because here's an actor who's been informed this entire dialogue sequence, which involves trading of very important information to the viewer. You have this. You don't have gesture. You have this. That's all you have to illustrate the points, to put the right emphasis on the right syllable. And he brings it. So thankfully you're in good hands there. But there's a lot of sequences that reek of that, where it's like, we had one angle. In terms of editing, there's very little dynamism in the edit because of that, because there is a lack of options. Like anytime there's a quote action beat in the thing, they have exactly one angle of that quote action, and it's just like, we have a tracking shot of a dolly moving across his sanctum or whatever, and then he throws an optical dagger that makes a little firework. It's like, well, that optical's really expensive and we can't afford to experiment with, different angles or different lighting or whatever. That's what you get. And the whole thing plays out in that way, where it just kind of feels like a lot of we got what we got, meaning we couldn't afford to be ambitious. And therefore, when it came time to hand it off to the editor, they didn't have the resources to be ambitious. So it comes across as very flat and static at times. And then to just fucking spoil what we've been alluding to with this conclusion here, everything Levi had said is true. We do in fact see a stop motion skeletal T-Rex do battle with a stop motion woolly mammoth skeleton. That battle consists of like it's just like they kind of snarl at each other and bump into each other twice. And Jeffrey Combs and Brian Thompson are, I don't think, ever on screen together in that whole sequence. Jeffrey Combs throws magic at him exactly once. Brian Thompson doesn't make a big deal about it. Brian Thompson laughs when the blue fuck me laser goes up into the heavens, and he goes, "Oh, it is glorious," to quote him in a later as
film. Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And then he says, "You can't stop me," and Jeffrey Combs says, "You haven't won," or something. And then he goes, and then the mammoth impales Brian Thompson, and that's it. Like their whole magical throwdown consisted of Jeffrey Combs magically pushing him with yellow piss lasers, and then Brian Thompson being like, "Well, that's not a big deal. It's just flashy. Like, didn't hurt." And then he uses the mammoth to impale him. Again, they never stride across the room to be in the presence of one another. For fuck's sake, Jeffrey Combs is an astral fucking projection. He's not even technically in the room with them.
Yeah, a little bit of Last Jedi energy. Who knows? Maybe Rian Johnson is a big Dr. Mordrid fan. It could be. But
you mentioned Zack Snyder maybe borrowing a shot from this. The Doctor Strange Marvel movies have quite a lot of astral projection. I wouldn't be surprised if, they're a little bit of a nod, though, although that is kind of core to Dr. Stephen Strange and all that. But it's just such a fart, like such just a fart in the wind when you get to the finale of it. Because it, like, what it brought to mind, Levi, and maybe you'll probably get the reference, actually. I hope our listeners do, because it's a fun one. King's Quest V. There's a wizard showdown at the end of that game, wherein you King Graham. It's not Graham, you see, it's Graham as the narrator likes to pronounce it. And the bad guy or whatever have like a magical throwdown, and it's a point and click adventure game, like on the computer. And the whole thing is it's based around inventory puzzles, and you have a magic wand, and the idea is you have to survive like a round of like 3 spells. So like the evil wizard throws a spell at you, and then you have a spell book, and you have to decide like what would be the best counter to this. And it's a point and click adventure game, so like every option that isn't exactly correct gets you killed, but if you get it right, it's actually staged in a very satisfying way, where it's like it's 2 people matching wits, where like, for instance, I don't remember all of it, but it's like a lot of it involves like transforming. So like I think the wizard turns into like a dragon. It's like this big crazy dragon. And the correct counter to it isn't like more force. It's to turn into like a rabbit so that you're nimble. And it's like, it's clever. It's interesting, you see. It's not just yellow piss lasers and then, oh yeah, that mammoth that I've had control over for the past 3 minutes. Oh yeah, go fight. Go do the thing that I could have done like as soon as I got in the room. It's just again, you say it has the bones, but of a satisfying finale. It's just the execution of it feels like we didn't have both of those actors on the same day, and we didn't have the means of doing any complex choreography or doing much more than like the bare minimum, honestly. Because even the stop motion, like it lacks that like that finesse and that enthusiasm, where it's like when the things fall down and die, I got like Ray Harryhausen vibes, where it's like Ray Harryhausen had a way with like killing his darlings or whatever, or like every time like a monster died in one of his productions, it was always this big grand like operatic spectacle. Yeah. And you kind of get that here, but like the actual choreography between the two things is like, ugh, they're just kind of it's kind of the bare minimum. It's almost like they're afraid of like breaking the maquette or whatever before they got to the end.
Well, it's just clear that they didn't have the time. I almost hate to make the comparison because it is I feel like it's apt from a budgetary standpoint, but it is kind of like saying this amateur boxer isn't as good as Muhammad Ali. But Roger Corman's The Raven has a wonderful wizard showdown that is fun and energetic and comedic, but it is also being done by Roger Corman, the king of low-budget filmmaking, and it is being buoyed by Boris Karloff and Vincent Price. It's like, you essentially have, like, genre royalty, but the thing is, it probably cost less than this. And with those resources, and it was probably shot in a week, and it pulls its weight, and it does good work, and it looks fun, and everyone's in the same room. And it's like, I can't help but make a comparison like that, because it's not that you can't do this on this kind of budget. It's that I think resources were being pulled in too many different directions. And that's not to say that any of the filmmaking's inept. they are firing on all cylinders. It just so happens that they're driving a Geo. They have 3 cylinders to fire on. It's like, it's not that this thing isn't running correctly and as efficiently as it can. It's that we just don't have that big of an engine. So it's, yeah, I'm reminded of like cooking often in the past, like old school cooking, is mostly how do we make lesser ingredients taste really good? Like, how do we as much as humanly possible? And that's kind of where we're at with this, where it's like, we just don't have the resources, but we're gonna do our damnedest with it. And considering the resources and considering the budget and considering the time, I really think they did the best they could. But the problem is that there are just some areas where you're like, man, maybe we could have found a cheaper way to do that effect in order to get a few more shots. Maybe we could have cut this thing and done a few more shots. Maybe we could have just done the T-Rex and cut the Mastodon and then have them maybe fighting over it instead. And maybe that would have saved more time, and maybe we could have gotten more shots of the T-Rex in order to kind of keep this thing a little bit more compact. It's an unfortunate thing because there's a lot of things going for this movie.
Yeah, and there were plans to do a couple of sequels, and I could have seen them being equally entertaining. Because, like, at the end of the day, I did kind of enjoy this. Like we've been critical of it, but I think it's more coming from a place of lament, where it's like I see that what this could have been if they had more money and they had more options. They didn't have those things, but Charles Band never a man short on ambition or whimsy. Probably overextended himself as he did on so many of these productions. I think it's worth pointing out that I think he directed this with his dad. So yeah. There was apparently like a particular attraction to this project or something. Uh-oh.
Apparently?
Oh, get the fuck off my podcast, Levi. No! Stop it! Stop it! You put that away. But I'll just throw a couple of notes at you because I had some fun with this. I too noted the slow motion at the beginning of the film because what Levi described, I don't think he pointed out entirely what you're seeing during that slow motion sequence. Like the opening of it is just like an armored car robbery that consists of a guy, I think, asking for a cigar or a cigarette or something, and then the guy behind him just shoots him in the back of the head. It's like, whoa, that escalated quickly because there's no context or setup to it. But then it's like man setting box on road and car drives up, and we don't know who's in the car yet. It's just like a white Jeep or something rolls up, and it's in that like strobe slow motion where you can tell that it wasn't shot for slow-mo. So it's just like it's choppy, and and there's no reason for it. It's just to stretch the film, literally. Like I literally stretch the film. It's fucking bonkers, but it only takes 2 seconds to understand why they're doing that. I'm curious if actually I'll come back to that. Dr. Mordrid has a neuralizer amulet, which was kind of cute. They make some decent use of it throughout. The daggers of Danak or whatever, the plastic knives, were very charming. And then something that I know you'll get a kick out of, Levi, the flashback sequence when the movie stops dead and Jeffrey Combs is like, "Okay, lady, sit tight. I'm gonna explain the movie to you. I'm gonna tell you about my past as a sorcerer on the planet Zeist." It felt so similar.
It has a little bit of that energy.
It has a little bit of Zeist going for it, where it's like, okay, so you're an immortal being from a different realm, and then you came to Earth and things are different, and you're from lots of different places. And him being at the police station feels very Highlander. There is some crossover there. But yeah, I got Zeist vibes from that.
Those two kids are really well cast. I'm like, actually, I'm like that. Yeah, I could see that becoming Jeffrey Combs and Michael Thompson. Yeah.
That kid looks evil as shit.
Well, it's in the jawlines and the head shapes. You're like, okay,
yeah, and yeah, Brian. I'm always happy to see Brian Thompson, hometown hero, as we call him, him here on Catching Up on Cinema. He's from the Pacific Northwest, so we claim him.
Oh,
villain of Cobra, Shao Kahn himself, first kill of the Terminator. That's his claim to fame. We like Brian Thompson here. And yeah, I felt that he brought it here. I thought he kept up with Jeffrey Combs really well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of other notes about this one, Levi. So Doctor Strange, the whole reason we're talking about this movie, I should have led with this, I guess, but I'm curious your impression of things. I don't have a very strong connection to Doctor Strange in any capacity, in any facet, if we're going to be quoting Brendan Schaub. I mean, I've seen the Marvel movies. He appears in some comics that I've read over the years. Funny enough, you put some emphasis on the Defenders. I think that's the one comic that I have read that he's in, and another weird one. I think it was like the Matt Fraction Defenders, where he was. I don't think he was the Sorcerer Supreme during that arc, and it was a weird team. But for some reason I was drawn to it, so I've read that chunk of the Defenders, which may as well be, I guess, the black sheep of a black sheep comic. So all that to say, I don't actually know a whole lot about Doctor Strange. I don't have a very strong connection to the character, but how about you?
Doctor Strange is one of those weird ones where it's like, I've said this in the past, I'm far more DC than Marvel, which feels like a already position these days. It seems like we don't have nearly as many like actual like dyed in the wool DC fans. It's like we got plenty of Batman, but there seems to be very few DC fans out there. It seems mostly to be Marvel. But like I've read a lot of the Steve Ditko books, and it's like I encounter him in other places. It's interesting because Doctor Strange works so well as a part of a team. It's sort of like his sort of like cousin analog over in DC is Dr. Fate. You know, Helma, like with the helm and everything. And I think Dr. Fate's kind of the same way, where it's like you can really have a fun book with him. You can have a ton of fun, and it allows the artist to really cut loose and try some like really fancy stuff. It's kind of hard to do like a really long running series unless you have somebody with the mind to do it. So Doctor Strange isn't exactly a favorite character of mine, but I do really, really dig what artists can do with him. It's the writing side, you don't have to get too terribly complex. I mean, it just kind of depends. But one thing why we're doing Dr. Mordrid instead of the other actual, real, non-MCU Doctor Strange movie is because it's not good. Like, it's really not good. Listeners and viewers, I'm not entirely sure how many of you have watched a good amount of 70s television, especially 70s genre television. When it's good, it's quite good. Like, we had a lock on things like detective and police shows in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
We had a pretty good idea for that. It's we had some good dramas as well. We did not really know how to do genre television. It was one of those things where it was like, oh boy, it's pretty clunky. And there's something like, we kind of knew how to do genre television in the 60s, like managed to trip and fumble, especially on American TV. It seems like the Brits had a decent handle on it. I'm not sure why. But so Doctor Strange was made in the mold of the Incredible Hulk television show, and guys, we don't have the budget for it, and we don't have the talent for it, and it just is a slog of a pilot. So neither of us really would have had all that much fun talking about it. You'd be able to riff, but it would have been painful. It's not unlike the Spider-Man television show from the same era is actually pretty impressive, but it's also very much of its era. It's kind of slow. It's kind of clunky. It's not quite what you want. It lacks sort of that fun episodic nature that the Incredible Hulk television show had, and even that's kind of slow and clunky, especially to a modern viewer. So there comes a point with the projects from that era where you're like, I don't really know if there's much to say here. Where with something like this, because it is a movie and it has a tightness to it, and because there's some money and there's some talented people behind it, I wanted to take a bite out of it, especially because it was either this or Generation X, which Trevor seemed to show no interest in.
Yeah, I mean, for historic purposes, I do have some interest there because of the timing of when that came out, because that was part of like the Avi Arad and David S. Goyer kind of wave that built up to Blade that gave us the modern superhero era of cinema. So there is interest there for historical purposes, but the product itself is like not really, not in a hurry. But we can pivot to that though if the trial of the Incredible Hulk it has minus appeal to that degree for you.
I'm willing to give it a whirl. I'm willing to lock in for Trial of the Incredible Hulk because it's like, I don't know, Daredevil's there, that's fun, and it's like it's not that I dislike the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk show. It's just, boy howdy, it's the 70s in here, and we don't know how to like move things along on television yet for some reason. It's like unless you're a cop show, we don't know how to do that yet. I don't know how or why.
Could be that like one, there's like a aversion to like exciting the audience too much. Or another thing could be like maybe the filmmakers themselves come from like industrial films or something, and they're used to presenting things in a more static fashion. So like the dynamism of like a action superhero piece is just very foreign, or it's like I can't even really conceive of how you're supposed to shoot that. It's like, you mean you're supposed to move the camera? Since when? Like that's against the rules. We don't do that here. But yeah, to me, the attraction of the project is like it gives kind of similar to this one, because this one I think is actually like a great topic of discussion. Where it's like it hasn't been a long discussion or anything, but it's been a very fruitful one. We had a lot of fun talking about it, and it cracks open so many different cans of worms in one 75-minute feature, where it's like we get an excuse to talk a little bit about Full Moon. We get to talk about Doctor Strange, a character who's not super mainstream or widely talked about in the mainstream when it comes to like Marvel superheroes and stuff. We get to talk about Jeffrey Combs. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about and examine with this Trial of the Incredible Hulk, I'm sure, is a piece of shit. In fact, I know for a fact I've read a review of that on Stomp Tokyo or badmovies.org, one of those websites when I was in high school. It just by virtue of being included on those websites tells me it's a piece of shit because the name of the website you see is badmovies.org, not goodmovies.org or mediocremovies.org. So I know going in it's going to be a pile, but like you said, Daredevil's there. Gives an excuse to talk about Daredevil. Fucking Kingpin's in there. Played by John Rhys Davies. Played by fucking Sala. Gives an excuse to talk about that. The Incredible Hulk TV show has a massive cultural, well, not massive, but it has a decent cultural footprint. Some people care about that. I know my dad or whatever watched that. So it gives us avenues to talk about things aside from the movie. We get to talk about Hulk and we get to talk about Daredevil and Kingpin. That's enough. We can always pivot back into that. So I'm not excited, but I'm not worried.
No. And I think all of this as a reminder, I think that there's something very valuable. I think that there's something incredibly valuable about context, cultural context, about understanding the footprint of Marvel and how it's shifted and changed over the years. Guys, until 2000, D-lister, or maybe a C-lister, at least as far as like major cultural impact. Thor had some footprint and something to kind of grab onto, but guys, for the longest time, if you weren't Spider-Man, the X-Men, or the Incredible Hulk, you weren't anybody. Guys, there was a time that the Avengers was just Captain America, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. That was the Avengers for several years. It was called the Kooky Quartet era. It's like, that's the thing, is that Marvel has grown into such a juggernaut over the years and has such a cultural footprint now that people recognize, that's Captain America. Oh, that's Vision. It's like, listen, these characters had purchase, like Captain America had purchase in the American psyche. But we have to remember with these characters and with the timing, and when you go back, most people can identify Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Cyclops, Wolverine, and like that's it. Like from your parents' generation, like that's it. People can identify. Maybe your dad would recognize probably, hey, that's Magneto. And like, that's Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin. Like, Marvel is one of those weird where, because it's been around for so long, that sort of cultural context gets very strange, especially because we've been in comic book waters for almost 20 years now. So that's one of the reasons why I find these projects so interesting. And it's one of the reasons why I like digging into these older projects, because it's fun to see, what do we have to explain? What do we not have to explain? How much respect is given? How much respect isn't given? And it wish on some small level that we could have had sequel movies in this vein, where if somehow it would have been fun. It would have been so much fun to see all these guys together. It would have been fun to have a 80s and 90s Avengers.
Yeah, that's part of my attraction of this whole project this month too. Is the cultural context. Because 1992 is when this film came out, and like Levi said, if you weren't the Hulk, if you weren't the X-Men, if you weren't the Spider-Man, if you weren't in particular Wolverine or the Punisher in 1992, nobody gave a shit. Those were the only comics that were selling, and DC was in like panic mode. They were getting ready to kill fucking Superman. So like that's where they were at. And Image Comics would, I think, be right around the corner. So it was a pivotal time really for comics. And I believe the way Marvel was doing their licensing at the time was by character individually. So I wouldn't be surprised if the reason Doctor Strange was picked was just by virtue of this being a father-son directed film. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the bands had some affinity for the character, but moreover, it was probably the asking price. Doctor Strange, to my knowledge, didn't frequently have solo comics of his own. As Levi and I both said, he's often been featured on teams. He's never really been like, you know, a primetime player for the most part. He has a dedicated fan base for sure, but it's like niche within niche, honestly. So I'm guessing the asking price for the rights to Doctor Strange in 1992 were pretty low. Oh yeah, Ghost Rider I think may have been doing well in 92 as well. Edgy horseshit. That's where we are at. But yeah, I think that's really fascinating too, to just examine the moment in time, and also just because it needs to be said publicly, because I probably haven't said all like 50 times already. In 1992, the Avengers were dog shit. The Avengers were complete dog shit. Nobody gave a shit about Iron Man until that movie came out. Like just prior to that movie, actually. Like Iron Man got some momentum behind him. Extremis was like the big comic in the 2000s that like really buoyed that character's brand and really like announced him like in earnest as like, oh, we should really be paying attention to this character. But like I grew up with like the West Coast Avengers, and later on like fucking Force Works, Levi Force Works. It's like all this stupid horse shit. And the Avengers like really like, even though they like their iconography would pop up from time to like in like advertisements and stuff. And none of my friends gave two shits about the Avengers when I was a kid. It wasn't until the movie that like anybody in my orbit gave a about the Avengers. So I think that's funny that like the sheer force of the Marvel and Disney branding and the charisma of the performers in particular, I guess, has like buoyed that brand so incredibly within my lifetime. Because like really, when I was a kid, I had time. I had no time for the Avengers. They did nothing for me.
It's like, folks, we are talking in a cultural context, like wider culture, like big culture. Because it's like, you know, of course, fans liked Iron Man. We had like the Armor Wars was a great freaking storyline, like in and around that period. Like there was plenty of good stuff on the shelf. And it's like there were plenty good stories to read, but what was selling was Spider-Man, X-Men, the Hulk.
Yep.
That is what was selling. And it's like, and what actually had purchase. And to an extent, even books like Walt Simonson's Thor run, like, sold very well. And it's like, so you have these sorts of legendary runs, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird what time does. It's very strange what time does, especially because even within the cultural context of the Avengers becoming so freaking big, it's like, guys, Hulk left the team at like issue 2, I think. Like, Hulk is not like an Avengers mainstay for most of the early era. As a matter of fact, like Giant Man is more on the team than Hulk is. And also Cap doesn't appear until issue 4. And also by like issue 10, everybody's gone. And it's just the kooky quartet. It's like, so there's this weird thing, and it's because it's like you can't even say the same thing about the Justice League, where it's like, no, the League actually had a pretty stable like membership for like most of its era, and like the Detroit warehouse era was just weird. It's like in the late 70s, early 80s, you're like, wait, so the JLA is Aquaman leading a bunch of like new characters in Detroit? That's really weird. And but what's funny is that even so, that concept, that version of those characters is what the CW pulls from. So the CW Arrowverse pulls from the Detroit warehouse era. So we get Gypsy and Commander Steel. So it's like that era and that team is immortalized in live action. So it's like we have that kind of purchase where it's strange that Marvel really has this idealized team lineup that, technically speaking, doesn't exist. Like, it's not really a thing for most of the team's history, where for DC, because they've had such a crazy history of adaptations, and because there's so doggone many of them, most of the teams and lineups and comic book stories have actually been adapted decently well. Where Marvel seems to be like, no, we have this one thing. We have this one cultural thing that actually bit and held and has held that is entirely separate from what existed on the page.
Yeah, I think of DC as having a more timeless quality. Like when it's singing, like when it's at its best, a lot of its characters, a lot of its lineup tend to have that timeless quality. Where even like the structure of their costume designs is hokey in like a throwback kind of way. That's like, that's the brand. Like if you're doing it right, that's what they're supposed to look like. That's what it's supposed to feel like. There's a reason they have so many like multi-generational heroes, is because they're respecting and honoring the history, putting it on display proudly. Marvel has always been more about meeting the moment. And in 1992, they had it by the throat. Because one thing that unifies all of those characters that we mentioned that are selling is they're all outcasts. They're all outside of the mainstream. They are anti-heroes or oppressed individuals. They are the outsiders, not Batman's team, but you get it. And when you get to like 2008, 2012, or was it 11, when, you know, Iron Man and the Avengers movie comes out, again, they're kind of like meeting the moment where it's like they're crystallizing and codifying like the brand in a way that really hadn't been the case up to that point, where it's like the DC has their Trinity. They have their Batman, they have their Superman, they have their Wonder Woman, they have the Man, they have the Alien, they have the Mystic. And Marvel is supposed to have a Trinity, but like you said, Levi, they actually weren't really together. They weren't really a thing as often as you would expect. It wasn't until much later that now it's like it's crystallized. That's like Captain America, the Man, Iron Man, like the pinnacle of man, and then Iron Man, the pinnacle of science, and then Thor, supposed to be the mystic. You have them like put together as like this big symbol, and the team of the Avengers is a more stable entity than it hasn't been in years past. And it's always interesting just seeing how these things move. Like trends always fascinate me. Like that's part of why we're talking about what we're talking about, is like the before times. Before everything became kind of static, like locked in place, because that's what Disney does. So examining movies from this era and from before, I think, is a lot of fun. Like I think you can learn a lot just by putting things under a microscope and examining like where we were and where these characters were in the public conscious.
Yeah, and all that being said, I unfortunately with DC, you can't really do the same thing as what we're doing here. It's because it's, as far as cultural makeup, as far as like what was pushed out into the world as far as movies and television, you got Superman, a lot of Superman, good amount of Superman for you. Pretty much every decade you get a new Superman. Batman, pretty much every decade you get a new Batman. Yep, we get that. Wonder Woman on occasion. So like we got the Trinity, bang. Like we have the big three. Those almost pretty consistently get some sort of cultural footprint. Although Wonder Woman is mostly with Linda Carter in the 70s. Very similar to the Hulk in that regard. But then it's like, okay, so what do we do when we go outside of that? It's like, oh, it gets weird. Oh, it gets really weird. It's like, do you want Steel with Shaquille O'Neal? I don't think you do. I don't think you want that. I don't think anybody wants that. It's
you don't want to see Shaq fight Judd Nelson. Nobody needs to see that.
No, it's like
Hot Rod versus Steel.
Like, and then you get like, okay, so you can go back and you could say, well, Black Hawk had a serial, and Captain Marvel had a serial. It's a great serial. It's awesome. It's a ton of freaking fun. I had so much fun with that one. But, and you know, Captain Marvel had a television show under Shazam, and we had some animated stuff, and we have the Super Friends, and it's like, so we have these things, but the weird disparate ones, like if we were to do the same idea here, you know, it would be like DC's Budget Bullpen. I mean, boy, it would be like doing. All right, so we're doing Steel, the Losers, like, I guess we can do like Swamp Thing. We can do Swamp Thing. We can do yeah, I got nothing. Like it like we'd really have to be scraping.
Yeah.
So that is one advantage Marvel does have as far as its cultural penetration, is you really can go a little wild with all of the different adaptations. You really can go a little wild, like kind of being like, oh, well, there's this and this and this. Like, oh, we can kind of have fun with, did you know this exists? With DC, it's like, well, no, you know the big players. Like you pretty much know them. You pretty much know like the big shots. And the weird underground stuff, you probably should skip for a reason. Or they're so old that they're kind of outside of cultural purchase, like the Captain Marvel or Black Hawk serials, or like Superman versus the Atom Men, and that sort of thing, where it is just like, it's so pre-history, like it's so pre-George and Christopher Reeves, that we can't touch it. Like it's not anything that we can like feel or associate with.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to hang it up here. But one thing that I think is worth tossing out there is that the moment that we're in right now, I've heard some rumblings about the newest Spider-Man film that Tom Holland headlined one. The cartoons, the animated series of the 90s, I think are the torchbearers for all of these properties, like in the current moment. Because like I'm almost 40, not quite. And people of my relative age range that didn't read comics, that is probably their touchstone when it comes to their understanding and familiarity with all of these characters. The X-Men cartoon was huge. For fuck's sake, that X-Men 97 show on Disney Plus or whatever is in its second season, and apparently people love it. The Spider-Man cartoon from the same people also has a vast cultural footprint. That's what I was alluding to with the new Tom Holland movie. Like, there's some people that are pointing out, like, this feels like stuff from that cartoon more so than anything I remember from the comics or from any of the previous MCU movies. And it's like, I mean, if you're a smart executive at Disney or whatever, yeah, mind that shit, because that's more people watch that cartoon and love that cartoon than have ever picked up a Spider-Man comic, because comics are a niche medium. It's a beautiful medium. I love it. A lot of people do. But compared to the number of people who go to see a Spider-Man movie in the theater or something, it's nothing. Like, it's a very small group of people, but a very dedicated group of people. So yeah, like the cartoons from this era, from like around 1992, 95, or like that window kind of, I think are kind of like where we're going to start to see like everything drawn from, where it's like, let's start referencing the stuff that people actually have real nostalgia for, as opposed to like those prestige comics that people have heard the names of, where it's like, oh, Demon in a Bottle, I've heard that's a good Iron Man story. It's like, yeah, have you ever read it? Like, no, I don't really read comics, but I've heard that's a good one. It's like, yeah, it's same with like Armor Wars or whatever. It's like, hey, remember that time Captain America was a werewolf? I mean, I've heard of that being a thing,
it's
but
really
I never
cool.
read it. It is. It's like, that actually really was that Wolfman?
It is. Yeah. So that's the Cap Wolf run, and that's the Gru. That's the Almighty Gru, baby.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I really like the U.S. agent, the Captain arc. That was always one of my favorites. I like replacement hero stories, but anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Point is, look to the cartoons. Like understand that, like, as much as Levi and I talk about the comics and stuff, like, most of you out there have more affinity and understanding of those cartoons, and in fact, those cartoons have probably have influenced like the comics and every subsequent portrayal of those characters in every other medium going forward. Like the Bruce Timm verse gave us characters and gave us spins on characters that are forevermore like kind of the definitive versions of those characters. Mr. Freeze would have been nowhere without Bruce Timm. Harley Quinn didn't exist without Bruce Timm. Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn being a thing didn't exist without Bruce Timm's erection. So, anyway, that's about it for me on Dr. Mordrid from 1992. It's directed by Albert and Charles Band, father and son. But thank you for joining me today, Levi. This one was a lot of fun. But before we go, hey, how about you let folks know where your YouTube channel is and how they can find you and all that business?
Absolutely. This is starting to sound like a bad book plot.
Oh, no.
One last note on the animated series. One last note. The girlfriend sat me down to watch Disney's Cinderella 3, which is weirdly good. Like, it actually works.
Is that the one about like the stepsister or whatever? Like the time travel or some shit?
Yeah. Like,
I've
where
heard
they
that.
like
I've heard
it
that.
has. It actually kind of works, and the prince gets to do like Errol Flynn things. It's kind of fun. Watching it, I was hearing his voice. I'm like, where have I heard that? Where have I heard it? And he said something like I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, it's Peter. Prince Charming is Peter Parker. And she was getting a little frustrated with me because like the whole time I'm just spouting Spider-Man dialogue.
Shocker!
Shocker! I love that it's like Shocker doesn't even say a word. He like teleports up the stage. He's like no. I
mean, he knows nope. he's gonna get his head tore off. He's out of there.
Shocker is like, not sticking around.
I am a D-list villain. I am out of here. This kid is not fucking around.
I don't think I've ever seen Spider-Man this upset. I'm leaving. I'm going away. Like, I rob banks.
I mean, honestly, this shit ain't worth it.
Yeah, it's like, That is sort of the problem with movie plot. This is my last thing. That's sort of the problem with like superhero movie plots is like, it's kind of hard to do like a traditional Flash and Spider-Man movie because it's just like, well, what's the big plot? They're robbing banks. They want diamonds or something. Like, what is Captain Cold's major plan? He's robbing a bank. He's robbing a bank.
Yeah, bills to pay.
What do you think he's doing? What's Captain Boomerang? He's robbing a bank like everyone else. It's like that is sort of the problem with doing the big movie plots is like, well, how do we? It has to be taking over the world. It has to be the big thing. It's like, when in fact, most often for comics, it's like, Joker is making a bunch of fish in the river evil so he can have his face on them so he can monetize them and make money.
It doesn't have to be a blue fuck me laser going up into the heavens at the end of the movie. Executives for some reason think that you have to put the whole world at stake in order for anyone to give a shit. It's like, no. The comics and comic characters are a very versatile medium. You can do Pizza Dog was an issue of Hawkeye, a non-verbal issue following the path of a dog, and it's a beloved comic. I mean, you could do Marriage Story with Peter Parker and Mary Jane where their domestic problems are interrupted by bank robberies, and that actually kind of like parallels their domestic issues or something. That could be the movie. Like, the world isn't at stake, their relationship is or something. You could do that. There's no rules or barriers saying you can't. It's just they don't.
I've always said the perfect Fantastic Four movie that isn't the script that I've slowly been writing. I've always said the one that you could actually sell would be the Fantastic Four are on vacation and they keep getting interrupted. They're just trying to have the American road trip. They just want to be a family.
To put a family, to put it in terms that the younger generations will understand, Levi, it's the beach episode of any given anime. Yes, there you go.
Anyways, you can find me at Your Captain Speaking, where you can also hear me talk seriously on subjects that probably don't deserve it. But I talk about short paperback novels in the men's action genre. So that's things like Conan, Elric, James Bond, Zorro. I talk about those sorts of things. I want people to get into reading. I want people to get back into it because it is a lot of fun, and most of these stories are fairly short and engaging. Not everything has to be these big 8-book series, so check me out there. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah, by all means, check out Levi's channel of Your Captain Speaking. He does amazing work. And sorry, my turn to ramble just a little bit. I started cracking up because you mentioned your dad could, maybe your dad could see Magneto and say, "Hey, it's Magneto." And I started laughing, but then you kept going and you said, "And yeah, maybe your dad could see Dr. Octopus or the Green Goblin and say, 'Hey, that's Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin.'" And I started cracking up because I was like, my dad would probably do that just based on the character designs, not actually knowing who they are. You just see a guy with goggles and multiple limbs and say, "Who's that, Doc Ock or Dr. Octopus?" And hey, it's a Green Goblin. And it's like, "Hey, how'd you know that, Dad?" It's like, "Who the fuck is that?" It's like, that's a sign of good character design and good naming conventions.
Yeah, so he's lifting metal things. He's like a Magneto or something.
Yeah, he's a Magneto. Is that a stilt man? That guy's standing on stilts. Is that a stiltman? It's like, wow, that guy's bouncing around like a kangaroo. It's just like, how did you know that was the kangaroo, Father? It's like, whoa, Hammerhead. It's like, That's a good sign. If the design and the name match up, you've done a good job. Anyway, my show is called Catching Up on Cinema. You've been watching it. You can find it wherever podcasts are found, and also on the YouTubes, and occasionally on the Twitch. We do live streams where we talk about our movie collections. So check us out, like, share, subscribe, and all that business. Nice shirt, by the way. It's very fitting. That being said, thank you so much for listening and or watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
That is